My name's Shell and welcome to my Slimming World channel. I haven't done a video for a long time, so I'm not going to say it's week this, that and the other, but it's actually week one of a new start. Like a lot of people, I've been away for a while and since we've been indoors I've put even more weight on, so I've gone back to Slimming World. I started yesterday. I haven't been doing the plan since the beginning of December last year. It's the 13th of May now, and this is actually my 5th time starting Slimming World, which is a bit of a shame, but it's going to be, I hope, the last time. I'm not going to go into this spiel about what I'm going to do and what I want to do and all this, because I think when you're getting on to your... Well, this is the 3rd time I've recorded a day one, and it starts to sound like bollocks to me, never mind anybody else. So, I have... Well, since December, I went to Slimming World for the whole of December, and at the beginning of December I felt so good. It was going to be the first Christmas that I never put weight on. I felt absolutely fabulous. I felt like I'd cracked it. I was sure I'd cracked it. I was so pleased, and it was going to be this fabulous Christmas with everything in moderation. And then I went away to my parents' house at the beginning of December, and actually I didn't do too badly there at all. But something about it, as soon as I got home, which was about the, I think it was about the 9th, 10th of December, after that everything went really wrong, and I put on 6 pounds, I remember that, the first week, and after that it was 2 pounds, 1 pound, and it took me quite a while to lose whatever weight I'd lost then, and it went on within 3 or 4 weeks, and so by the time I got to the beginning of January, and this is something that happened to me in January, it's never happened to me before, and I've said this before, but I started this diet, the whole of my diet, 30 years ago next month, which is a long time, and I'd say every single day of that 30 years I've thought about losing weight or thought about being stressed about putting weight on, and I've never actually lost all the weight that I wanted to. So for those 30 years I've been struggling, and in January this year I got to a point where I just could not face thinking about dieting anymore. I think it's what you call a diet breakdown. And I've got to stages before in dieting where I've given up diets and basically eaten what I wanted, but I've always thought, oh, I've got to find something else to do. That diet didn't work, I need another diet. But this time in January, I thought I was never going to diet again. I was so done with it all. And I would have thrown my scales away, apart from the fact that I couldn't get to the tip because we don't drive. So I put them in the attic and left them up there, and my idea was as soon as they can get to the tip, they're going. I was going to eat what I wanted. I was never ever 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 going to think about going on a diet again, which is fine for a while, until you start piling on more weight and more weight and more weight, and there comes a point, well, I think there comes a point where you think, I've got to do something, plus I'd got over that the feeling of just being so down about the whole thing, and I felt ready to start again, and I know Slimming World is the right plan. I was thinking, this is my 5th time, why have I never made it before? And I think it's because I always want to do something more than just Slimming World. The first time I went to Slimming World, I think it was around about 1995, and I didn't understand the plan at all then, and the consultant kept saying, oh, you can eat as much pasta and rice and all this as you want, and I took it literally, and I didn't lose any weight at all really. I think I lost 3 pounds, and then I just kept putting on, and she kept saying, no, you mustn't be sticking to the plan. And I was sticking to the plan, but you know, I don't think that when they say you can eat as much as you want, that they take into account some people's appetites. They have a huge appetite, and these days they do say within moderation and have so much speed food, which they never used to say in those days. You know, they didn't used to do this speed food thing at all. So anyway, I gave up in disgust, and then I went back a couple of years after that, and I think the problem then was that I used to have a terrible Diet Coke addiction, and it was really bad. I don't mean just that I liked Diet Coke, it was a terrible addiction. I'd get through 2 litres a day minimum, sometimes 3 litres, and I couldn't do without it. It was like smoking. If there was no Diet Coke in the house, I'd have to go out and buy it. I couldn't get through a day without it at all. And when I was doing Slimming World that time, I was under the impression that, well, whenever I'm hungry, I'll just have some Diet Coke, and that will take the edge off. And of course that led to disaster long term, and I did end up giving up Diet Coke a long time ago now. I don't know, about 10 years ago or something, and I don't drink it now and I don't miss it. Now the last twice I've done Slimming World has been documented here, and the first time when I look back at my videos, I was doing Slimming World, but I was determined to only eat healthy things and have sins on these specific things. I was only going to use sins on these things, and I was going to eat all speed food in the day and all these other rules, and the same last time really. So this time I've decided that there are going to be no rules. The only thing I'm going to do, and I've seen a few people say this recently, is just every day concentrate one day at a time, and if I can get to the end of that day and say I have done the plan today, whether that's eating all healthy food and healthy sins, whether that's eating no sins in the day and having them all on chocolate at night, whether that's whatever it takes, as long as I can get to the end of one day and say I have completed the plan, that's all I'm going to do. And however I do it each day, it might be different. So that is the plan. I went back to Slimming World yesterday. Obviously we're locked down at the minute, so it was a virtual Zoom meeting I went to, and that was nice. It was nice to see some old faces from last year. I did weigh in over the phone with my consultant because I've got talking scales, so I put the phone next to the scale so she could hear. And my starting weight is 13 stone 7.4. So she said, oh, we don't count the 0.4, so it's just 13 stone 7. So I've already lost 0.4 of a pound just on the phone call. So I am nearly a stone heavier than last time I started Slimming World, which is quite a lot, and it's shown a lot on me this time, the difference. I have had a couple of comments before saying that because I was sitting down, there's no idea what size you can see a person is. So I'm going to stand up. You stay there. Oh, this is Sandy as well, our assistant. You stay there, Sandy. So this is standing up, and this time when I have put on weight, I put it on here on my tummy. I've never done that before. Usually I go out to the side quite a lot, or I've got a tummy but I can pull it in. But this time the extra stone has gone all on the front here, and I've got quite a football shape, which is funny really because I'm not used to it. When I'm standing I find my hands coming up rubbing my tummy. So I need a quick twirl. This is the size I am, and hopefully as time goes on it'll get less and less. So me and my football, let's sit down. Come over here, Sam. Come over here. So that's about all for now. One new thing I have been listening to this week, which you might enjoy, is a podcast. It's called Slimming Stories from Around the World, and it's done by a lady called Claire. Well, it's Claire West, but she's got another name in the middle. It's Claire something West. The first 2 or 3 episodes on the podcast are about people doing exercise, but all the ones I've listened to after that have been people doing Slimming World, and the ones I've heard so far have been fantastic. There was an Irish lady on there who'd lost 14.5 stone with Slimming World, and she was so interesting to listen to. And there were a couple of blokes on there who'd lost, one bloke had lost 16 stone and another bloke had lost around 10 stone, but it was what they were talking about that made the sense, and all of them were saying just take one day at a time, and they're very inspirational to listen to if you get time. I think there are only about 20 episodes so far, and she's obviously still doing them because some of them are quite current, but slimming stories from around the world, and it's a very worthwhile podcast to listen to, and I'm looking forward to more episodes coming out because it shows you these people, they're on Slimming World and they tell you what their attitude is to the plan, and they're all very different. I mean, one lady on there, she'd lost an enormous amount of weight, and she said, I have a cheat meal every week. She said, I eat everything I want on that one day, and that works for some people and it doesn't work for others. But she had lost stones and stones, and she kept it off a long time as well. And other people were the exact opposite. They said they had to be very strict all the time. So listen to that, it's worthwhile listening to. Anyway, I'm going to be doing my video now every week. It's nice to be back, and it's nice to be back on plan as well. I haven't been watching because I was in such a foul mood with dieting and Slimming World. I haven't watched any videos since the beginning of January. So I'm going to get back into watching them. There'll be new people to watch and follow, and get some new ideas. So I'm going to say goodbye. I shall speak to you next week and hopefully let you know what my first weight loss is. Bye!